Hi. Hello and welcome to Radhaa Publishing House. I'm Radha, and today we have a very special guest. I'm interviewing Daniel Armosilla. Is that how you say your last name?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you. And this is the first time we're meeting, actually. And we decided to, I actually asked Daniel if he would come on because he found one of our books. And I'd love for you to just share a little bit about yourself and then share which book you found.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And to pronounce your name, it's Radha, right?
Yes, yes.
Great.
Thank you.
It's so lovely to be here with you today. And um, yeah, about me, I grew up in Southern California, but I was born in the Philippines, and I moved to the U.S. like when I was 4, and so I was raised here in Southern California, and I think I got into astrology and back then I'm 43 and a half. Back then it was called New Age. And maybe like in high school, a friend of mine, who I still talk to this day, shared like kind of like she's a Leo and I'm an Aquarius, and like she kind of shared like the characteristics of my sign, and I've always been um into astrology, and growing up like I loved watching X-Men and Captain Planet. So I always kind of like believed in magic. And I guess also become like being a Southern California kid, like I believe in magic because of Disney, you know? So
Oh, that's
yeah, yeah.
beautiful. But it's evolved a bit into like, look at we both have the our crystals today, which we were so surprised that we both have our Lemurian crystals, you guys. Like, what are the chances? And they both have this little place for our thumb, which is so wild. And we're like, we're
Right.
activating here. And so well, I'd love to know which book you got because I heard that you found one of our books.
Yeah, I think I've always been spiritual and, like raised Catholic, and but like always believed in, a different entity, as well as, Jesus and Mary and everyone else. But yeah, like I I so yeah, I guess I've always just like been spiritual. And for the past like maybe like 6 months, I've been researching ascension. And there's like all this stuff like on TikTok about the ascension and how we're shifting. And I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. And I was in Barnes and Noble one day, and was there with a friend, and they went to go get coffee, and they like was like, oh shoot, I have an appointment, I like gotta go. So they left quickly, and I was like, I don't know why, but I was like, maybe I should stay and like look at all of the new age stuff like that they have, right? And because growing up in the 90s, like that's how we would get all this like spiritual information, like about books or whatever. And I knew that like Barnes Nobles had like a new age section, and I go and I kind of let my intuition guide me. And of course I find it, and it's all lumped in with, it's called like self-help. There's like astrology, and there's all this like therapy stuff. And then on one side of the aisle there was a book that called out to me, that in the cover said like, what was it? Oh, I'm ascending. Now what? I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to like pick this up. 'Cause I've just been like learning about ascension, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then I like kind of like in the same section, maybe underneath
Mhm.
that book, I found Awakening Starseeds Volume 1. And I don't know why the book is purple. I don't know, like, I don't know why I decided to pick it up. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna read the intro to both of these
Mhm.
and decide if I want to buy it. So like I found like a little, how like Barnes and Nobles has like chairs everywhere you can
I
sit.
love those, yeah.
Yeah. And so I sat down and read the introduction for both. And there were a ton of things that I resonated with in the Ascension. And then there were a ton of things that I uh, resonated with in Awakening Starseeds. One of them being that like the first three stories, and you guys are Filipino, and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like I definitely need to buy this. And I just like walked out the store with it. And yeah, that's how I found you guys.
This story makes me so happy. And that's why I just wanted to hop on a call with you because I didn't actually know which book you got. I wasn't sure if it was Infinite Cosmic Records, Doorways to Healing and Remembering. But then you found Maya the Shaman in that book. And then you contacted
Right.
her.
Yeah. I don't know, like you know how like you collect books and then sometimes you just like, pick them up and put them down, pick them up
Yes.
and put them down. And
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe a month after I purchased the book, I was like, you know what? I'm going to the beach. I'm just going to take this book and like read it. And I read your story and I read Maya's story. And I was like, this is so cool. I don't know what came over me. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Growing up Filipino, like I don't know, like my ancestral lineage, like past my grandfather or past my
Mhm.
grandmother. I don't know. Maybe there's something with the silent generation that they remain silent. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Um,
the trauma, so much trauma because of the wars and all of the
and the
invasions never
colonization. Yeah,
never seem to end. It's like one after the other. And it kind of beat down. That's how I feel, about my lineage. It kind of beat down. So we have to find the sacred stories, within, because every one of us has those.
right. Yeah. And like when I read both of your stories, I was like, oh, I would love to do like a reading. And then in the book, there's like your number, like Maya's number. And I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe I should text her. And so I did. And then we scheduled a meeting maybe within a couple of days, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, within a day or two, like we scheduled the meeting for not, I th it was for last Monday. So this all happened really, really, really fast.
One
Fast.
week.
Yeah, yeah. And now I'm a week out, I'm like sitting here talking to you, and
With
it's
our
amazing.
Lemoyne crystals.
Yeah, with our freaking crystal, that's so
Lemurians unite.
funny. Yeah, it's so funny.
That is
And
wild. I'd love to hear I'd love to hear more about like what happened when you called, and then if you want to share your session, you certainly can. It's up to you, you know.
oh, sure. Yeah, I think I've been called to share because I think I'm at this like I'm at like this crossroads of like w- you know should I share this my spiritual life, you
Mhm.
know? And I have anyway, I think like I'm so nervous, but like I think like this is the push that I need to be able to kind of like say, you know what, I don't care what people perceive of me, and I'm just gonna share my story. And so like because I don't know my family's like lineage, I like was like, oh, Maya's Filipino, like maybe they'll let me know about where I'm from or who
Mhm.
I'm related to or like why do magical things happen.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And yeah, and because like all this beautiful stuff happens, and I'm like, why does this happen? Like, or where does it come from? I would ask my mom, I'm like, Mom, like my mom, she calls it ESP. And I ask her, like, where did you get it from? She's like, I don't know. I think I maybe have gotten it from her dad. Anyway, so
Oh.
yeah, like in our journey. I just like wanna have I like wanted more concrete answers. And
Mm.
in the book, in Starseeds Awakening Volume 1, in Maya's story, she mentioned that she works in the Lumerian healing code. I was like, oh, I wonder what that is, you know? And so anyway, like I booked the reading, had no idea. Like I was like, yeah, I just maybe want to learn more about my ancestry. Maybe she can tap into, like some ancestors or, you know, whatnot. And so I finally get on the call and Maya like briefs me about like what we're gonna do. And she mentions that it's essentially like a past life regression
Mm.
infused with Lumerian code healing. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And it's hysterical because in my I'm kind of all over the place. Maybe all this will make sense in the end, but
Beautiful. I love the way you share your story. Yeah.
oh, thanks. Um, Now I forgot where I was. Anyway,
You were about to get into the session, so you were gonna do like a with past life kind of and the Lemurian code healing kind of combined
yeah,
together.
yes, thank you. Um, I had just done a past life regression like a month ago with this other woman. So I was like, oh, I know how to do this, you know? And I don't know, this summer it's just been kind of like a huge push for awakening for me. And um, so
Mhm.
doing this like energy healing work,
Yeah.
with healers and then doing with Maya, I was like, okay, like I feel comfortable doing this, you
Yeah.
know? It's funny. Um, so we go into the healing session and she does the clearing and we go into the past life regression and we're walking down the stairs and into a long hallway where there are multiple doors
Mm.
and and she asks me to walk towards the first door
Mhm.
and asks me to describe it. And I say, oh, it's white and with a gold knob.
Mm. Ooh.
And she asks me to like open the door and she asks me like what I see.
Mm.
And I tell her that it's like this beautiful, like green and blue, like ecosystem. It looks kind of like maybe like a rainforest, but it has like willow trees and there's like an ocean and it's like rolling green grass and there's like fairies everywhere. And I'm like, she's like, what does the fairy say? And I asked like, and the fairy was like, oh, you're here. Like we've been waiting for you. And I was like,
Ooh, you
okay.
chills.
Yeah. And she asked like, what else do you see? And um I said that there was a bee, and she asked me to ask like what does the bee say? Like what and I it said it's time to get to work.
Mhm.
And they're like, what else do you see? And I was like, there was a bunch of stuff that I saw in this room. And the second thing was an ant, and they told me like, it's time to build.
Oh wow.
And then the third thing was a bird, and they said you should be free.
Mm.
And a dolphin said, make time for friends and loved ones.
Oh.
A butterfly came by and said that change is coming.
Wow.
And a mushroom came by. There's a mushroom there, and it said to believe in magic.
Oh my goodness.
So
This is so enchanting.
it was
I'm like,
crazy.
wow. And how did it like it sounds so beautiful. It's funny because I'm obsessed with like mushrooms, especially the wild ones that grow in the forest because I'm here in the Appalachians. And
Yeah.
I always go and take pictures of these little mushrooms and it's like a whole world of itself. you know,
Right.
it's
Yeah,
so
they're so
cool.
beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, and it told me to like believe in the magic, and I was like, okay.
It's
And um, so like, I mean, like that's I was like, what the heck? This is amazing. And so we closed the door, and I'm out back into the hallway.
mhm.
And did Maya tell you anything about this?
No, no, she told me nothing.
Oh, wow.
She just said that, yeah, she just told me I should connect with you. And then yeah, this is the first
Great.
hearing about it. So I'm really excited.
Oh my gosh. So we she asks for me to approach a second door,
Mhm.
and I'm walking down the hallway, and I'm in front of this door, and she asks, what does it look like, or what is it made of? And I say that it's made of malachite. It's like all green. You can see the grooves of, the malachite in different colors. And the handle was malachite. And um, I open the door, and she asks, like, what do I see? And um, like all I could see was like this bright, like white light.
Mhm.
And she asks me to go, can I step into the room? And um, at first I like was apprehensive because like there was nothing below me that I could feel like I'm putting my feet on. And I started kind of like freaking out because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like floating, like in this room.
Yeah,
And she's like, it's okay, it's okay. She like, thank God, she like helped me kind of like
come,
calm down, like, and she's like, what do you feel? And I said, I feel like a breeze.
yeah.
And she asked, like, what does the breeze say? And the breeze said to like walk through the fear and the anxiety, like walk through like towards light. And I'm like walking, and the light gets like brighter and brighter, and I can like see it kind of like glistening, and like it's like kind of like all sparkly, and then I hear like bells and whistles, and she asks me, what do you feel? And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like this like high frequency, and I feel this like high like vibration. Um and she said something about like you're here, you're in it, you're in the vibration, and now you're remembering. And when she said remember, I started bawling my eyes out because I remember reading in Ascension that, like, our souls are in this like 3D body, but it doesn't know why it's here. And now I literally felt like my 3D and 5D were like aligning into like
It's a
one
one cohesive like pillar, it sounds like, or
yeah, like one thing. And I start bawling my eyes out. And then Maya starts crying. And she was like, this is a really special gift. Like, this never happens or rarely happens. Like, I can feel the like union like happening. And I'm like, like, I can't stop crying. And like all of the work that I've been doing the past, I guess my whole life, but like really in earnest doing for maybe over the past 10 years has like gotten me to where I am now. And I've been doing an example is like I don't know why, but I've been going to this sound bath every
Uh-huh.
Thursday at my local metaphysical shop, and it's been life changing. I've been going for the past 2 years. I've just been so attracted to the vibration, and like the practitioner helped me kind of like learn how to raise my vibration according to the frequency of the sound bowls. And so like when I was in the past life regression and I could just feel the love, and I can feel like the intensity of the vibration and the frequency, like I knew that like, oh my gosh, I am here with like a higher power, a higher being, like my creator, I guess I would say like God, right? Like an elder, a
Mhm.
benefic being. And um Maya was like, "Do you want to leave the room?" And I was like, "No, I can't. I can't. I have to like
Yeah.
stay here." And I thought I was there forever.
Oh, so time
And
kind of did it feel like time kind of like went away, or you were in you went beyond in a timeless space?
it just felt like it was like it took a long time to get finally like back down
Yeah.
into like where I was laying down. And yeah, so like we ended the session and just like kind of like took our time, like you know coming back and grounding in. And she asked me to meet with you afterwards. I don't know, I was so like don't know what I was like. I just was like, yeah, sure.
It's incredible. I feel like it was so divinely guided, the whole thing. I mean, but you like you said, like you've really been preparing. And that's something you can't take lightly because it's the work we do behind the scene. We're always working and kind of maybe other people don't know how much we're working, on ourselves so that we can receive more when it's time or when we can receive what's really meant to show up for us. And these, I always think of it like it's kind of like Tetris, like the little pieces are coming together and but maybe not as fast. Tetris is very fast. This is like it's a little slow, but eventually the pieces start to come in and in and in, and then you're elevating. I mean, I don't, it sounds like you had a very advanced session because you were elevating. I'd like to hear more about that experience because that's the first time I've heard that. And then also what did it feel like,
Yeah, so like, you spoke about the work, and I'm sober. I'm in recovery, and I got sober back in 2015. Um and a lot of people don't know this, but like, you know, getting sober and joining a 12-step program means that you're actually working a spiritual program, because it's not about the drink or the drug. It's about the spiritual malady combined with the compulsion to drink and the obsession to drink and or drug. And so I would say that in earnesty, my journey started then. And like you said, like pieces of the puzzle, Tetris, like every like year there would be amazing spiritual white light experiences, to the point where it just takes me from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. So like what you're saying, like the elevation happens little by slowly.
Mm.
Um and I think I got a reading from an astrologer. His name's Jade Luna. In 2022, and he said, "Oh, perfect timing. You're embarking on an alignment period where the universe is going to ask you to do three things, and the first one is a complete upheaval in your career."
Wow. Wow.
And yeah. So I've been working in fashion for 20 years. I'm a fashion designer, and that's how I make my living. And um, I've experienced all these upheavals in the past 4 years, ever since the pandemic, like getting jobs, losing jobs, getting more jobs, losing them, just like complete upheavals. And every single time I've learned like a lesson, of
Yes.
like how I show up in these spaces and how can I be my most authentic self in these spaces and keep my inner child like in the front of the line and like practice like all the spiritual things that I've learned also in business, um and and yeah, Jade Luna also said that the second thing is that all my relationships are changing. And like every step of the way, I've gained all of these spiritual experiences from total strangers. Complete strangers.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
elevating every step of the way. And I don't think we're complete strangers, right?
No, no, I mean, look at this. I say it's a reunion, just like we're remembering.
Yeah, this is like a family reunion.
Yeah, it is. We're finding our soul tribe. And I think, I mean, just how I feel is that we made certain agreements to come in and meet each other at certain times. So I don't think there's any coincidence in this particular timeline. So it's so divine, but it's such an exciting journey, and your journey seems to just keep progressing, you know?
Yeah, I think the more I stay sober and the more I stay open, like being sober and gaining all of these beautiful spiritual experiences, like I could write a book, right? But um, like Jade Luna also says that like my intuition will increase. And
Yeah.
little by slowly, it's like getting stronger and stronger to the point where I'm like being magnetized to the soul tribe, being magnetized to the spiritual experience and the growth and the progression. So, I'm in it, I'm living it.
That is so, so
And
cool. And what is the main thing that you feel from the session with Maya? What is the main thing you can tell
oh,
people about that? You know, that how did
yeah.
that help you in any way, or how did that help you remember parts of yourself for those who are also on their journey? Because it's hard to explain these things, very hard to explain.
That's a really good question. And like I don't think I've done a good job in explaining it is because it is really hard to explain. Like once I've just been set on the path, I just need to continue like in the action of furthering on that path, one thing after the next. So when I did the reading with Maya, I didn't know what I was gonna get. It's always about the like jumping into it, not
Yeah,
knowing,
it's a
having
surprise.
no expectations, having a little bit of like guidance of like, oh yeah, I want to learn more about XYZ, but like it's never what I think it's gonna be,
Exactly.
It's it's way more than I expected. And uh like I wrote here, she asked me to journal. What did I write? I was like, oh, I felt so much love,
Oh,
so much relief, so much forgiveness,
ugh.
and just like being that feeling of being one, And I think like as a recovering alcoholic and drug addicts, like we are so disconnected from that. We feel like that we don't have the instruction manual. We feel like we are separate from and a part, not a part of people, even our family, and um, doing all of this work helps me realize that, like, oh, right, yes, I am in the alignment with a power greater than myself, the universe, the divine feminine energy, divine masculine energy, whatever it is, So it's that it brings upon that sense of belonging, right? Like, and that I'm actually at the right place and at the right time and with the right people, like that's what that means. It's simple. It doesn't have to be complicated,
Doesn't, but
just
it's
as long as I stay on this path, things will illuminate themselves, and they have. So,
so beautiful. I really appreciate that because that's such a confirmation. And like you, I mean, I've gone through that too, and I feel that's part of also perhaps our lineage and trying to find our identity and stuff like that. But you know, that I think there's a longing in our hearts to feel deeper connection because it's not readily always available in society, like in everyday kind of situations. So we have the very surface level connections, and there's something inside that craves more, something that we want to feel seen or heard or understood. And we know that there's also more multidimensionality to ourselves. And just like your experience and how you went through the first door, it's like that place was totally enchanted, the enchanted in Laguna, Philippines. They say that it's very enchanted, and underneath the earth there's like an enchanted kingdom where the enchanted still lives, but it can't be on the surface because it's, we're kind of reckless humans, and it's not safe, for the divine beings. So but it sounds like quite a journey of remembering. So you're definitely connected to that.
thanks. Yeah, thank you. And I think like um it's about the seeking, you
Mhm.
know? I think all of us have that yearning, that seeking that, people turn to religion, other people turn to, I don't know, politics, like whatever it is, service, like whatever it is, right? Like that seeking that gets us to back to like where we're from so that we can feel a part of, and then ultimately like be of service, to others, and to share. And this is all a part of it, right? Like I get to share my story so that maybe someone out there can also relate, and things may resonate with them. So yeah.
So beautiful. That's so beautiful. And so what's next for you? I know that you're also involved in the healing arts, and you're taking your Reiki and um
Yeah, I'm balancing the world of like the divine masculine and divine feminine, like still um working my fashion jobs in the 3D realm, but then also balancing it all out with the spirituality aspect in the divine feminine realm.
mm,
So 5D realm. So yeah, this whole summer has just been all about like receiving, and not procuring, and not and like kind of like decentering from like colonization, right? Like being able to receive, and like it's so it feels really counterproductive, but it's actually like what's meant for me comes. And so, yeah, like what's next? I have no idea. I'm just gonna continue like living day by day, and continue to do like the next right action, like continue on the spiritual path, and then continue on this like 3D like fashion creative realm path. And like we could have the best of both worlds.
I agree
and
with you. Yes. I think that's so
and
beautiful. I think it's exciting that you do fashion. Fashion is also an art form, it's part of our creative expression. I love fashion, and I think it's important for us to feel adorned in our energy, that kind of like we're rebirthing ourselves all the time. And so fashion is a way of expressing that. And I really see it, anything that we do, we can bring our divine self into. It doesn't matter what it is, as
yeah.
long as we're bringing that vibration and that energy and intention. And we know that fashion, makes people feel good. It actually gives people confidence. People like wearing certain colors, and it's all part of it. So it might be fun to explore too, like the different chakras, because the different colors, the chakras, and the different
Yeah.
colors that we
Yeah.
wear, there is that correlation there.
Right. Yes. Yes. Oh yeah, and then like that was another thing too about like the shop that Maya had in Oregon
Yeah,
about like like making clothes and
yeah.
that had healing properties in them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's why. Oh my God, the kimono, that's so
Yeah,
beautiful.
I was like going to I was thinking about wearing this and but it was a little bit chilly. So this is a beautiful handmade, hand painted kimono that she painted.
Beautiful.
Whenever I wear this, I feel so royal and I just feel that, you know, the purple is a royal color. It's very powerful. It's also the color of spirituality. So the colors activate us too.
Right. Yeah, that's so cool. Um, yeah, when I read that um she made clothes and had a shop, I was like, I definitely need to call this person. And I'm like, that's hysterical. Yeah, I've been working in fashion, like production and manufacturing, like 15 years. So, um, still what I do to this day. So
I would love to see some of your work. So I'll put your information below too, so everyone else
okay.
can catch up
Yeah.
with you and find your beautiful fashion. Now, are you a stylist? Do you do
I
production?
know. I work in actual design. Yeah, I'm a menswear designer and have been working for various brands on the East Coast and then also here on the West Coast and keeping
Beautiful.
myself busy with projects this summer um and yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's
It's
so amazing.
it's a good gig and
Yeah.
I love that you spoke about like I think like the most like my most valued like virtue is freedom of expression.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we get to show our beauty outward, the
Yes.
beauty inside. So
It's so,
and
it
fashion helps with that. So,
really does, especially when you bring your heart into it. And I can see how you're going to be meditating or, you know, connecting in when you do your beautiful projects and bringing that frequency because it's a frequency.
that's
Everything
right.
frequency. So you're bringing that higher frequency forward into
Right.
the close, into the intention, and the world is really wanting more high frequency. So I think it's a win-win. And I'm so excited to meet you today. It's such an honor, and it's
Likewise.
just such a surprise. And Lemurians unite.
I know.
So wild, and
So funny.
I really enjoyed hearing about your journey, and I just I felt the beauty and the innocence and the power and the magic of the realms that you entered, and how also when you went in, you brought also that aspect with you when you came out.
Yeah.
Still have that with you now.
Yeah, I'm still riding high, which
Yeah.
is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful feeling. Yeah. So
Good. Well, thank you so much for your generosity and sharing with us today. We just thought we'd hop on and say hello and just record and see what happens. So I
thank you
thank
so
you
much.
for saying yes and you know, for all you do and all the light that you're definitely bringing into the world as well. So until next time, much love and blessings.